Hello, and thank you for joining me again. Today, I invite you to join me in a profound story where love is both a refuge and a test, where two souls, CEO James and Diep, are bound by hope, tested by fate, and shaped by an undying belief in reunion. In the previous chapter, James finally found a clue to Diep's trail after weeks, months of fruitless searching. Officer Lee, with quiet and fierce loyalty, stepped in with vital information. He didn't just listen, he acted. Mobilizing a squad of police officers, he began to follow the slightest trace Diep might have left. Meanwhile, Diep wandered, without compass, without map, through rushing streams and thorny forest trails. Every exhausted limb, every ragged breath, was sustained by a belief. Someday, somewhere, James would be waiting. She was halfway there, not just across geography, but through pain, silence, and the weight of her own mistakes. For Diep, the journey was more than a return, it was a return to herself. In James, his home felt empty without her warmth. Even as the walls around him echoed, he pressed on, visiting every village, walking every road, praying that she had taken the right path or the wrong one. The moment Lee broke the news, that Diep had briefly taken refuge at his house, been gently tended to, and then quietly passed away, James's heart was both calm and broken. Relieved that she was safe. Terrified by her silence. The question haunted him. Why hadn't she called? Did she believe he was no longer waiting? That night, he returned to his old house. Memories hung in the air, laughter over dinner, hugs in the rain, angry words spoken and then forgiven in tears. The house was silent, almost a mausoleum for what had been. Every rustle of leaves or distant footsteps startled him with false hope. Every sound was a ghost calling to him, expecting her to return. But the night passed, the stars disappeared behind clouds, and she still didn't come. Morning light filtered through the dusty windows. James stood before the desk where he had poured out his heart in letters. He gathered up the old letters and called Trang, his trusted assistant, his confidant, and the woman who had quietly loved him. Trang, he said, his voice hoarse, I need your help. Despite the pain, she listened. James asked her to keep the company running, to care for his ailing mother in the mansion that now echoed with echoes. He knew the burden was heavy. But to him, there was no other choice. Diep was more important than any title, more important than any legacy. He carried only a small backpack, a few essentials, a few photos of Diep, each a plea for help, a plea for news, a plea for any sign. He left the mansion before sunrise, leaving CEO James behind. On the way, he was simply a man looking for the woman he loved, willing to risk everything. He passed through alleys hidden behind bamboo fences, roadside teahouses, rural bus stops, even rural gas stations. In every village center, he posted a flyer, a gentle face, a sad smile, and a question. Have you seen her? He gently asked the locals. Have you passed a girl? Have you seen this photo? Some shook their heads. Others lingered, looking at the image, the eyes, the sad smile. A slight nod, a trembling recognition, each small response seemed to fuel his hope. James followed the soft footprints on the damp ground, paused where strange shadows fell, reviewed all the directions Diep might have gone after she left Officer Lee's house. His journey was both physical and mental. He carried more than photos and flyers, he carried the burden of memories. And Diep, she herself, now survived by courage and memory. Since the horrific road robbery, fear had become her companion. She avoided roads, settlements, even the hope of someone helping her by car. Instead, she walked through forest trails, through rocky gorges where only the chirping of birds and rustling leaves marked the hours. At night, she hid under branches and tarps, searching for wild berries, roots, anything her grandfather had taught her that would sustain her in times of danger. Then the snake appeared, a vicious attack in the woods when she least expected it, a black snake with white stripes, her leg suddenly aching, blood seeping. Panic rose, but she clung to her homework, to her grandfather's voice. Wash the wound. Slow the venom. Find herbs. Calm down. She dragged herself to the stream, bathed the wound in cold water, tore off cloth to bandage it. Then she went deeper into the wilderness to find the herb she knew as the resurrection leaf. Her hands shaking, her eyes blurred, the pain burning beneath her skin, she picked it up anyway, chewed it raw, pressed it to her wound, swallowed the rest. That night, the fire she lit was small, its light fragile. She curled around it, fever burning, her breathing labored. The venom clawed at her thighs, torso, numb nerves. Her skin, once warm and alive, was ghostly pale. Limbs numb, heart pounding, but, in the flickering light, in the silence of the dark forest, she held on. James, if you're out there, hurry, she prayed. She whispered a plea to the starry sky for another chance to survive, to say what had yet to be said. Sleep came, unconscious, beautiful, dreamlike. In the dream, fields of flowers, warm sunsets, the wind in her hair. And there, James, a gentle smile, arms outstretched. She ran to him, sobbing. He held her tight. I never stopped searching, he whispered. The words were both simple and endless. But the reality was cold. Night had fallen. The wind whistled through the dense foliage. The fire died down, threatened by damp wood and gusts of wind. Diep's fire died even as her life trembled on the edge. She was convulsing, high fever, ragged breathing. Death seemed near. Life was fragile. So let us leave them here, Diep, clinging to the last embers of consciousness, James, wandering, posting flyers, chasing hope through forests and villages. Will his path lead him to the fire he cannot yet see? Will she overcome the poison, the cold, the loneliness, the night? Can love overcome the darkness, time, distance, and death? Follow me to discover what fate has in store.